didn't Gerald Ford? I mean, he liked Policewoman, which you would think, world leaders, they got too many things to worry about. They shouldn't be watching episodic television.
Have you seen?
Maybe they should.
I was watching the first season of Policewoman on DVD. Have you seen what Angie Dickinson was like back then?
Well,
of course, he was watching Policewoman. I mean, he was president, but he was still a man.
Well, and probably the world leader of China was watching you, Stepfanie.
There you go.
Hey.
Or they were watching Fred because in their country there's no one over 5'8", so they were just thrilled to see this blonde Nordic kind of tall. What is he, like 6'5" or something?
6'7".
6'7". Oh my God.
And I'm 5'6" on a good day.
Yeah, I understand you had to stand on egg crates in order to match his height for some of the shots.
Yeah, we would call it a full apple. I was constantly on boxes. I really was, and I was constantly in high heels, and my feet bared witness to that. It was I couldn't wait to be barefoot and in like little fluffy slippers because I was always in high heels or standing on boxes. Otherwise, you can't hold the two-shot.
They were asking Nicole Kidman when she and Tom Cruise divorced. They said, "What's the one thing what have you gone back to anything in your old life that you miss?" She said, "Yeah, I can wear high heels now." Because Tom has got this height issue, and she was like, she towered over Tom, and she's like, "I'm just so thrilled to be wearing high heels again." But yeah.
And there you go.
It's funny what you miss. It's funny what you miss. Stepfanie, what's great is that I was looking over your bio, and I mean your bio reads guest shots on some of the greatest shows. Of the 70s and 80s, Starsky and Hutch, 8 is Enough. One of my favorites that didn't last only like 8 episodes, The Runaways.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Now, did you do that show? Did you do that episode with Robert Reed, or was he gone by that point? If you recall.
I'm not sure I remember. I know I started doing that. I was in school when I started doing those. I really was.
You were like, 12, 13?
Yeah, right.
Something like that?
Not quite.
Okay.
But, for example, that the first television SAG job, union job that I had, was on Starsky and Hutch.
You played the manicurist.
Yes.
There you go.
See, you remember more than I do. And I remember I had some, innocuous line like, "The phone's for you, Mr. Smith." But it got me my SAG card, and, it just kept kind of building from there. 2 lines, 4 lines, a scene or two, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and then you got to do Vegas with Robert Urich and shoot in Vegas of yore.
It's true. He was such a lovely man.
He was a very nice man.
He was a very, very nice man. And I seem to recall that while I was filming that episode, I was in the middle of learning, I would say, close to 50 songs.
Oof.
All at the same time, because I had just joined a country swing band, and I had to come back and step in there. Their female lead singer was gone, and I had to audition and got this gig, and I was doing that at night. I used to do 4 sets a night, 5 nights a week in clubs all over L.A.
Wow. Stepfanie, when you got the Hunter show, the chemistry is obviously apparent to all of us, especially us 3, because we were fans of the show. But is that something you and Fred had to work on, or is it something that happened naturally? Because you're classically trained, and since you were a kid, you had all this training. And Fred comes out of the NFL, and he seems like a naturally gifted actor. He did a couple of spots on Cheers. He was hysterical. But
yes.
It seemed to me that you had this chemistry that was natural. Was it, or was it something you worked at?
Maybe a little bit of both. I remembered Fred from. Believe it or not, I used to watch him when I was a kid. I used to watch him play football with my older brother on TV on Sundays. And then little did I know that I would wind up working with this person in an acting position. I had met him before Hunter doing, he was testing for a show. There was you would remember, there was a television program with an actor who was a big, tall guy with a cowboy hat and oh, God, what was that show?
Come on, David, what was that show?
Come on, David, what was that show?
You were on, or Fred was on?
No, Neither one of us. They were casting for that show, and Fred was one of the guys who did the test. And the network called and asked if I would be the woman in all the scenes with all the men they were considering for that role. And that's where I first met Fred.
Wow.
And then shortly thereafter, we lived in the same area. I saw him at the health food store. Oh, hello, how are you? I remember you from blah, blah, blah. And then we wound up testing for Hunter. Fred, believe it or not, is an extremely funny man. I mean, he is funny. And you never really got to see too much of that on the show because he wasn't playing that type of role.
Right.
I always wished that he had some kind of a vehicle that would really allow people to see what an outrageous goofball he could be. I
got an idea of that because, again, thank goodness for YouTube. I mean, some of the outtakes, that you guys did, I had a chance to look at the, look at that, before the show, and again, it goes to show. I mean, it almost seemed like he relished the opportunity to cut up a little bit after being so much, in this sort of one note character, which he played so well, but within the confines of the Hunter show.
Right, and you obviously that's a mechanism for release as well, because it's very stressful. It takes an enormous amount of time and energy to roll out a 1 hour cop drama like that.
Especially when you're practically every scene.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not like we had a cast of 6 or 10 and you could have a time off or a break. It was really, really difficult. That first year, we were known as the toughest job in Hollywood, the toughest set to work on, because the hours were absolutely grueling. And it was just exhausting. I think we went through something like 7 or 8 crews in the first year. I mean, it was really demanding. It was a very difficult thing. I remember that David had asked me if it was more difficult to sing in front of an audience. Is it easier to sing in front of an audience or to act in an hour-long drama? Probably to act in an hour-long drama is a lot harder. You've got a short-term burst when you're on stage. And it's very demanding in and of itself, but it's a much more joyful expression.
Well, it's not demanding at all talking to you, and it's very joyful. If you want to be part of our conversation, if you have a question for Stepfanie, give us a call, 800-407-5728, 800-407-KSAV. If you want to email a question. Email address is talk@tvconfidential.net, talk@tvconfidential.net. We have a few emails, which we will read when we come back. We also have an answer to our trivia question, speaking of Fred Dreyer. Fred Dreyer, who co-starred with Stepfanie Kramer, our guest tonight here on Share Vision Radio.
Listening to TV Confidential with Ed Robertson and Frankie Monteforti.
You turn off the lights. You hurt me to the quick. You make me feel guilty while you tear my soul apart. Wounded to the heart. Fast around the curves. Imaginary lines. You drag me to a stop when you think that I should start. Wounded to the heart.
Ed Robertson and Frankie Monteforti, along with our guest singer-actress Stepfanie Kramer, star of the long-running crime drama Hunter. David Krell is also with us just because we like to have him around. The first 3 seasons of Hunter are available on DVD. Stepfanie Kramer also has 2 CDs out, The Great American Songbook, a collection of standards, which was recorded live at a jazz club in Los Angeles. Also, One Dream, a collection of adult contemporary songs, many of which were written and composed by Stepfanie Kramer herself. If you want to order Stephanie's CDs, you can do so by going to www.stepfaniekramer.com. That's and again, I'm going to spell out because Stephanie spells her name a little unusually. It's www.stepfaniekrame. Why can't I spell on live radio? StepfanieKramer.com. Tell you what, folks, after the program, we will have it linked to our website at tvconfidential.net. Just visit our links page at tvconfidential.net. It'll take you right to Stephanie's website. We have a caller. Before we take the caller, let me announce that Kathy from Los Angeles emailed Fred Dreyer played for the Los Angeles Rams.
That's right.
That is the correct answer, although David Krell Stickler, as always, said that he also played for the Giants, but that doesn't count, David, because this is our show. So,
and he was a Ram for a lot longer than he was a Giant.
He was a Giant for 3 years.
Yes, but he was a Ram forever. So, but anyway, thank Kathy. We will send the CD of Stephanie's Great American Songbook CD to you later in the week. Also, thank you, Chicago Bill and Raymond, also for guessing correctly. But Kathy, you emailed first, and therefore you get the prize. Let's see. Coming back, we heard a clip from a song that you wrote for the Hunter Show, "Wounded to the Heart." I want to ask you about that. I want to ask you about writing music in general. First, I understand we have a call. This is Karen from Missouri with a question for Stepfanie. Karen, welcome to TV Confidential.
Hello.
Hi, Karen. Can you speak
up?
Hi,
Stepfanie. Yeah,
Hi, Karen.
Hey, are you going to have any more original music? Are you going to put any more original music out?
Someone else asked me that just a couple of weeks ago. I find that what I've been doing lately in terms of writing is not so much original music. I've really been writing scripts and a collection of short stories with a couple of other writers. In terms of music, I've been concentrating on doing this one show right now, which was referenced. It's a Great American Songbook, and it is some great standards from the 30s and 40s and 50s. Not that I've stopped writing music, but I've just shifted my writing energies into a different way.
Oh, so are we going to see any of that writing anywhere anytime soon?
Well, my writing partner that I'm working on with some films right now is David Chisholm, who's a wonderful, notable screenwriter. He has Denzel Washington's film coming out. He writes, I can't say enough good about him. He's such a talent. And I'm so grateful that we clicked together. So we've just begun on our second film. In addition to that, I have a notable lecturer and author, Jan Arrington Walcott, who's a novelist, who's a friend of mine, and she and I are working on a collection of short stories.
All right, I'll be looking forward to it. Bye.
Great.
Karen, were you the one who emailed the question about the black-rimmed glasses?
Well, of course.
Okay, you want to ask that on the air while we got you?
Okay, there's a picture on your website, and it's of you in a red strapless dress, and you're holding
I know the picture.
Cigarette thing. Yes. What's the story behind that?
I was just goofing around. Sometimes you do those photo sessions. People think you just get on a dress and you put on some makeup and you're ready in about half an hour, and you sit and you take a picture for an hour and you go home. You sit in hair and makeup for hours, and then you take photographs for 10 hours. I mean, you are there forever, and it's exhausting. So I will pretty much grab any opportunity I can to cut up or do something goofy just to break it up. And there were some funky black glasses and some long cigarette holder with a thing, and they were doing this sort of elegant thing with a gown, and I said, oh, for God's sakes, give me the glasses and the cigarette holder. And we did a goofy shot, and that's, today that's one of my favorite pictures.
Yeah, it is hilarious.
I'm glad you like it.
Okay, we're glad you like it. And Karen, we're glad you called. Thank you so much for calling tonight, and we hope you listen again to us on TV Confidential.